story's so well-rounded because from the beginning you went into education and now you care so much everything in your entire career to bring you to where you are now.
The better you understand yourself and feel confident about who you are, the easier the sale is.
Thank you for joining us today to learn more about Alice Heiman. It was such a pleasure getting to know you better and hearing your background. So what we have next are 5 questions to explain excellence and to show you how Alice Heiman contributes to excellence in Reno. What would you say is the number one tip to maintain excellence in the work you do?
Excellence probably means different things to different people, but for me it's really staying on top of my game and really being able to produce at a very high level and give my clients what they need. So for me, it's getting the help that I need when I need it. And of course, I always tell my clients that, get the help that you need, don't struggle. Don't try to do things that you really don't know how to do well, get the help. So I really rely on mentors and coaches and experts. And when I feel like I don't know something well enough, right away I think, who knows this better than I do? And I go find them, I talk to them, I read about the topic, I read what they've written. I just try to find the thought leaders and bring all that to me. And that really helps me maintain excellence. You can't be good at everything. And when you try to be, it can be disastrous. So I think for me, staying focused on what I do well and bringing in the things that I need to help me, those are the things that really help me be excellent in what I do.
Okay, I think it from what you're saying, it's understanding what you don't know, but in order to get to that place, obviously requiring some level of humility.
Right.
To be able to understand, hey, I don't know it all. I accept that, but that's okay because there's these other people that do.
Yeah. And it's a time issue as well.
Yeah.
I guess I could learn how to be expert in some of these things, but
Right.
it would take so much time. I can cut through and do it so much more quickly if I get an expert.
Right.
And that's what I really want the founders of these startups to think about. Yes, you can learn it yourself, you can do it yourself, but how much more quickly could you really get to the point you need to be at, and how much more quickly could you get revenue flowing if you got an expert in to help you?
It's a really great point. So the next 2 questions are somewhat similar because I'm really trying to get at something specific. But if you have another way to answer the question, if you, Alice, were to move on in your career, you're doing the next biggest and best thing, and you're looking for someone to replace you with excellence, what specific quality would you look for in that person to replace you?
There's 2 things that stand out to me right off the bat. One is a positive mindset.
Positive mindset.
That's
huge.
Just critical. And, we can say that and we know that, but keeping a positive mindset is sometimes hard. And finding people with a positive mindset is harder than you might think.
Really?
The negative talk that comes out of people just amazes me sometimes, and I don't think they even realize it, and they're sabotaging themselves.
It's true.
Their self-talk and even the language that they use when they describe themselves and when they talk about other people is somewhat negative or self-deprecating.
Right.
So that positive mindset, that positive attitude, that would be number 1.
Okay. Number 1, positive attitude or mindset.
And then the second thing is someone who is always learning. You just can't stop learning. And today, especially in my world, which is the world of sales, you cannot stop learning. Things are changing so rapidly. The way the customer relates to you is changing quickly. The way we broadcast messages is changing. The platforms that we have to use for our messaging are changing. Everything is changing rapidly, so you've got to stay on top of it. A week cannot go by without you reading what the thought leaders in your area are talking about. So you really have to have that positive mindset, and then you have to be willing to be continuously learning.
Right. No, I think that both of those are really good answers, and it really fits into that kind of when we talk about the growth mindset, because you have to be positive to think, I am going to grow from here, but you have to be willing to learn and accept that there is more out there in order to get to that place.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good answer for that one. So the third question that I have is, what do you think is your number 1 strength that contributes to your excellence?
Yeah. My number one strength is probably my positive attitude.
Positive attitude.
And I've worked hard to get this positive attitude because I thought I was really positive, and I learned a lot of things about myself actually very recently. So I hired a performance coach, and she actually coaches a lot of NFL players.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And her motto is, average is for sissies.
Nice. Okay.
And I don't want to be average. I've never considered
Well, and you're
myself
not a
average.
sissy, so.
And I'm definitely not a sissy. I want to be more, I want to be excellent in every way that I can. And I think as successful as I am, I was holding myself back a little bit with some of my own thoughts and my own language about that. And so the positivity is really important. Having an upbeat attitude, being a happy person, people want to be around happy people.
Yeah, contagious, right?
Right? And they want to listen to a happy person, not a, sad or grumpy person. So it's not everything, but it's the start. It's what can draw people to you. That positivity can draw them to you. And then the next thing is your authority in your area, right? So I know my industry. I know my topics really well. I could talk about them in my sleep. So now that I've used that positivity to draw people to me, then when I open my mouth to say something, it's something really good that people want to hear, and it's useful information. So I have to be excellent in that way, and those qualities are what propel me. I'm positive, I can draw people to me, and then I can keep them drawn to me by offering them very high quality information that can change their life.
So I think that some of the things you said are starting to tie into the next question, which is good. So the next question is about your personality and how that contributes to your excellence. And so when I typically start this, I say, hey, have you done the Myers-Briggs before? And I know that there's a million different personality tests, and what your Myers-Briggs is doesn't matter. It's more, are you an introvert or extrovert? And what are some of the other components of your personality that drive you to this excellence that you have?
Right. So the first thing is you have to know your own personality. And I think that takes a certain type, because some people are not introspective and they don't really know themselves very well at all. So I know myself very well because I have been studying myself for a long time. And when I was younger, I did things differently than I do now, when I didn't know myself as well. And I thought maybe that I was drawing people to me, and I realized that I was actually
Pushing them away.
Right. And people actually told me that I was intimidating. And I was so surprised.
Scaring people off, Alice.
I was scaring. I'm like, really? I don't mean to be intimidating. I want to draw people to me, and I want to help them. So I thought, wow, if I don't recognize that in myself, I have to do something. So over many years of being introspective and doing things like the Myers-Briggs, and there's so many assessments out there that you can take to help yourself know yourself better, but also taking feedback from your friends and family, and then even from people that you don't know as well. So when I do present and I do training, I always get some feedback. And then I use that to continue to shape that. So I think knowing yourself is really important, and many personality types can be successful.
Of course.
It's not that there's just one type, but I do think in some ways, people who are extremely introverted will have a tougher time. And sometimes people who are extremely extroverted will have a tougher time. And maybe the people more in the middle it will be easier for, but you can temper your own personality. Once you know what it is, you can temper it. And so I've been able to temper my extreme extroversion and bring it down to a level where people can manage it better and not be repelled by it so that I can draw in the people that I want. But I think personality is critical, and you do have to be self-critical. Not so self-critical that you're putting yourself down, but critical enough to say, wow, I think I could make this change and it will make a difference.
I think that's really important. I mean, I haven't heard anyone answer this question this way, actually, and because what you're saying is, regardless of your personality, the importance is self-awareness and the introspection, so that you understand who you are first, so that you know what might need to change or how to adapt or whatever. So Yeah, that was a really interesting way to hear that.
I think adapting is actually a key because I do have to work with some very introverted people. They're engineers and they invented something, and then they came to have a business. Sometimes I call them the accidental entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so somebody said, oh, you should make a business out of that, right? Kind of like what happened to me when I first started.
Right.
But if they're very introverted and they want their business to succeed, I have to help them understand how they can look at themselves and what they're doing differently so that they can get the sales that they want. Mm-hmm. And you can change your style. Maybe you can't change your base personality, but you can change your style. You can change the way you interact with people. And sometimes with introverted people, I have to change my style to be able to reach them. And then with more extroverted people, I can be a little bit more myself. But I learned that over the years. Mm-hmm. I used to just be the same with everyone, and it didn't work.
Right. Yeah, so it's kind of like phase 1, understand who you are. Phase 2, understand who the personality is or
right.
the attributes of the other person so that you can reach them better.
Right.
So there's kind of like 2 phases to that. So loved that answer. That was really interesting.
Good.
So the last question. This one's my favorite. This one is, okay, if you were to give advice to your 20-year-old self, what would it be?
Gosh. Yeah, I hate these questions.
I love it. I always love the answers I get.
Give advice to my 20-year-old self. I think what I would say to my 20-year-old self is love yourself more, be kinder, have some grace, for who you are and where you are in this world, and have high expectations, but not so much so that you are always beating yourself up for not being as good as you'd want to be. Mm-hmm. But I think I would just say love yourself more and take care of yourself more, because that is what works. Right. When you are a healthy, whole, awesome human being, then you can share that with other people, and they're more open to having you share it because there's nothing holding you back, that lack of confidence or that little bit of something that you're not even sure of, but you're putting it out there somehow so people aren't going to be attracted to you in the same way. So I think it's really love yourself, be kind to yourself, take care of yourself, and be awesome in a way that makes people want to be around you.
Really great answer again. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure interviewing you and spending
really
time with you, Alice. Thank you.
So great.
Hugs for the video. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks.